Instagram. We go live there. Hi, everybody. We've got Carl Bonthuys, South African rider who's represented the Proteas on the road and on the track. He is joining us on Balls to the Wall. And this is the third episode of Balls to the Wall. We are currently live on Facebook, on Track Cycling SA, and also on Yaku Schools. And then also on the Track Cycling SA Facebook page, there's a Riverside link that I've also shared on Instagram that people can link to. So, Carl, I've met you many years ago at the velodrome, and welcome. It's an honor to have you on our show and to share your experiences with us.
Hi there, thank you for having me here, and hi to all the viewers listening wherever they're listening from or watching from.
Carl, this is absolutely a pleasure. And my first experience really where I was in the same race than you, it takes me back to 2013, where we were actually in the same Western Province team. I was a veteran already, and you were, I think, a junior. And we were in the team pursuit with Neil Rousseau was one rider, and there was another rider. And that was awesome. But, I mean, you were one of the top guys there in our team pursuit. But your journey started way before there. So can you take us back to the time your journey started in track cycling or in cycling in general first?
Yeah, so I've been riding quite a long time, since 2007. 2008 I started riding on the track. Like, it first started when my dad built up a track bike for me. And it was quite a weird sensation when I was testing the bike out in the road, like in front of my house, because I've never ridden a bike with a fixed gear. So to ride a bike like that didn't have a freewheel mechanism in it, it was a weird sensation because you couldn't freewheel and you had to keep on pedaling, as well as not having brakes on the bike. And then that's how the track cycling started, but then it progressed to going to Bellville Velodrome and doing training sessions, getting used to the track, and then racing the league races.
Well, I mean, that's the story of track. But before track, you were a youngster, and I believe you tried out some road cycling first. How did that take place?
Yes, like I've always been riding a bike. Like, some of my first memories are having a cricket bat and having a bicycle, and it was in between the two. And then it started in 2007 when I was under 11, and I took part in my first race at that time.
And what race was that?
Um, it was one of the fun rides at the end of the year. It was the Tour de Winelands. It was a 13-kilometer race, and yeah, that's where it started.
Now, that fun ride was the start of great things to come. But talking to you in the past, I've also realized that nowadays we've got the Oudtshoorn Youth Festival, which is a key event. But in your days, club racing and provincial racing was huge. You had some competitions there where all the riders from South Africa came together, and what was it like going to that competition and competing there? Now coming from a fun ride into bunch races on the road.
Yeah, like at that time, it was still like what we have now is the youth festivals. At that time, it was called Eric van Enter. So that happened during the June, July holidays, and it has a similar format, except not like it only had the road events. There wasn't any mountain bike events. So yeah, like going from doing fun rides to representing Western Province, there was such a big learning curve because the the level at that time was quite big and the bunches were also quite big. like thinking about it, like qualifying for the criterium finals, there were like 3, 4, 5 heats at one point, like for under 14s, under 15s nowadays. So it was quite a lot of competition just to make it to the final. If you were strong enough, and then in the final as well, it was also quite a tough ride. So yeah, that was quite a big learning curve. But you also learned so much, and the next year you also wanted to qualify and improve on the previous year.
I mean, that sounds like a really awesome school to get started. Um, I know a lot of the youth nowadays do mountain bike, and yes, we've got the youth festival, so definitely there's potential to get back to those days when you started out. But then you ventured to the track. How did that happen? How did you end up on the Valvel Velodrome?
Um, just, just by exploring it with a club at the time, Kinetic Cycling Club. We had a few guys who were interested in also doing track, not just the road. And then from there, we took part in sessions, getting to know how track works and how to ride on the banking. Because like Balvel's quite a steep track, so it's not just like, okay, we're gonna jump on and do laps. Like you have to learn how to ride fast enough, and not just the speed but also the technique of staying on the track. And as you get better with that, it gets a lot easier. So that's how it started.
Were you the youngest then in that group where when you started? I guess you were probably about under 15 at that stage.
Yeah, I was one of the youngest at the time.
Yeah. But I mean, that's a huge motivation for many of our young riders to just see where you've started and then how you progress through the years. Um, so you've spent many years training at Belleville Velodrome, if I take it now from when you started till now. What does that space mean to you?
Yeah, it's a facility that you're always training hard at, um, and you're preparing for the next event, whether it's a national champs or provincial champs or even a continental championships. So yeah, you're always working hard there, and when it comes to race day, you bear the fruits of your labor, and you're also spending it with your mates. So it's not always just hard work. You get to have fun in between um, your sessions and in between the races as well on race day.
Now, did the track cycling impact on your road cycling at all? And if so, how?
Yeah, like also at the start, like coming to when we started on the track, that was also a way of improving your skills. Like for me especially, I wasn't that good as a track cyclist, but training on the track and competing on the track also helped um, with my road skills. Like if you think about your acceleration, your sprinting, and your like it helps with all aspects of other cycling. And there's a lot of how do you say it? There's a lot of changeability between the two disciplines.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I can see your current team. You're currently riding for Crown Billion Networks. And if I just look at that team, Shamik Saleh, even the manager, Oscar Kluti, and even the other guys in the team, they all have a track background. So, so they've come from that school, which just like when you're in the bunch, you just feel so confident. So uh, I'm following you guys on the road as well, and on the track. It's nice to see a whole squad on the track. It's like when I started watching track cycling as a youngster. You had like Willie Engelbrecht and his whole team. Uh, you had a lot of the pro teams that came to the track, and it's actually really good to see when there's a Western Province League, like the bulk of your team is there. There's a presence there, and I think with you guys and more of the teams joining, it will just elevate the level of racing even more. And I can already see that track cycling in the Cape has moved forward a lot. You are one of the more experienced riders in that team, and you are also a certified coach. How do you channel your expertise into guiding the youngsters?
Yeah, like even from a young age, I've always had an interest in not necessarily coaching, but like how I can improve myself. And I think a lot of athletes also have that, where they want to improve their performance and they don't know how to go about it. So to be that for a lot of athletes with a group of riders that I'm currently busy with, it's a great reward to see their performances improve and you are part of that.
Yeah, and I mean the riders that you're involved with are mainly from Kinetic Cycling Club. What age are those riders, or are they across all different ages?
Yeah, it's across different ages, like from from under 11 all the way through, even um the adults, like your veteran categories, they're also part of the training. And I mean, even they have desires to see their performances um, improve, not only on the track but on the road as well, and with um, any of the goals that they aspire to achieve. So even if it's finishing a cycle tour in a respectable time, that's also like there's no goals that are too big or too small, and to be a part of that, it's so rewarding.
And I mean, what I can see is a lot of the veterans riders, they also have kids that cycle. So the track is a family sport. It is that social aspect as well, where you train hard and you learn. Um, so yeah, keep up that good work there, Carl. And the main thing that I want to really explore a little bit more is in the intro we mentioned that you've got Protea colors in both disciplines, road and track. Now, I think there are many probably under 11s, under 13s, and under 15s dreaming of one day putting on the green and gold and 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 representing South Africa in those Protea colors. What advice would you offer to those young cyclists?
Yeah, for the track, it is like looking at the selection criteria for track cycling. It is a lot more simple compared to, let's say, road cycling, as different squads on the road require different roles that need to be filled. So, I mean, like the times that I've got selected for road teams, it was just about having the right results at the right time and then being selected for that. But on the track, like Cycling SA has a nice selection criteria that you can follow, and it gives a guideline of what you need to do to be selected for, let's say, Africa Champ squad or World Championship squad. So it's about knowing your selection criteria, and then from there figuring out, okay, what do I need to do from there to get on the selectors radar to be selected. And I mean, it's like for now it's only those two events that are that you can be selected for the national team for junior. So it's quite a difficult selection to make. So it will require like your best results and a lot of hard work to get there.
But you've achieved it. And to all our young riders listening, go to cyclingsa.com and go to the track section, and then click there on the selection criteria. It is so clear. You have got um, results as important. It tells you if it's for now longer term, which is now world champs. World champs also has a junior and the elite version, but for world champs, you need to write the SA Championships. So SA Championships, absolutely crucial. And then if you also want to run AFCON, there is some time standards, and of course, it is important to get good results in the selection events, which you can find in the policy. Um, and then obviously our elite guys, they are all looking forward to the Commonwealth Games next year in Scotland, in Glasgow. So that's going to be quite something. But before we get to that, um, I've seen you compete at leagues for many years now, and you basically at each of those leagues. But what of the disciplines, what races on the track is the closest to your heart, and why?
Yeah, so if I'm quite decent in most of the endurance events, but I think the points-based events, such as the points race and the tempo race and the medicine, they are the races that I enjoy the most. Like because you need to sprint at the various different intervals to score points to win. It makes the racing quite hard, which suits my capabilities. And then also the Omnium as well, like doing the 4 endurance events on one day and ending off with a points race. I think that also suits my capabilities and it makes for quite tough racing as well.
Now, Carl, if you just mentioned the Omnium, and I think we're about 9 weeks out from the SA Omnium Champs, and it's happening at the Westpool Bourne Oval in October. How are things going there with your prep?
Yeah, my prep's been going good so far. Like there's still a lot that needs to be done. Like as you said, it's still 9 weeks away, so like there's still a lot that like in terms of speed and power that needs to be done as well. But so far I'm right where I need to be.
Now, Westbourne is one of those tracks. It's outdoors. It's in Gqeberha, and the weather can change at any given moment. It's nice when there's no wind. When there's wind, it's a bit of a more challenge. So, but you're used to also racing here at Bellville Velodrome under a close, under a roof. How does that open velodrome affect your decisions on the day? What are some of the factors that a young rider now who says, I'm going to go to Westbourne, it's maybe my first time, but I've trained at the velodrome. What should those young riders be looking out for?
Yeah, I think there's quite a large difference between racing on a indoor track versus a outdoor track. Like gear choice on the outdoor track is a lot more important as the conditions are always changing. So if the wind picks up or if the wind changes or the wind direction changes, that also affects how you're going to ride and the speed of the race, and that affects your gear choice. So, for example, maybe the gear that you race in a scratch race at Belleville isn't going to be the same as the gear you race on an outdoor track, like in PE. So that's also one of the things that you have to be wary of.
And then the length of the track compared to Belleville, how does that impact?
Yeah, you also need to be aware of the distances of the track because, like for example, if you get the last lap at Westbourne Oval, you can't start sprinting immediately unless you planning to sprint from 500 meters out, which can be quite tough. So just knowing the track distances and how the laps are also is also something to think about.
Yeah, we're wishing you all the best with that preparation. And then, of course, the big one for all our elite athletes, it is Glasgow 2026 in Scotland. Um, that Commonwealth Games was supposed to be happening in Melbourne, but it didn't, so it shifted to Scotland. And one of the things that happened is like there is no mountain bike race and there is no road race. There is only track, and there's 26 medals, 26 gold medals. So let's say 26 events, times 3 medals each. So that's a lot of medals available at that venue. Um, is that the event you're considering to put your hand up and to go?
Yeah, for sure. I would love to participate at the Commonwealth Games. The level of the competition is just below a World Championships and above a Continental Champ. So yeah, like I've missed out on the past two editions for various reasons. So hopefully we'll be able to make the squad and we'll be able to compete there in Glasgow.
Yeah, so Commonwealth, it's so close to world level because it's Australia, New Zealand, um, England, Scotland, Wales. You've got some of the Caribbean nations there as well, and then of course us as well. So it's definitely something that will stretch a rider, but I mean competition makes you strong. So that I think that's in July, because they just said last month it's the year out, and then usually in October it's the world champs. So I mean the timing is actually quite nice to just give riders that exposure to race at that very high level. Um, but you're not only a rider and a coach, but you're also helping us at Western Province Track as administrator. You are the Western Province Track Cycling rider representative. What are the things that you believe needs to happen for the sport of track cycling to grow and to thrive for years to come?
Yeah, so I'm also part of the Western Province Track committee. Like we've been doing a lot of great work to getting track to where it is at the moment. Um, I think just improving on what we have already, like getting larger events, like maybe like having our Grand Prix um, be UCI Class 1 or Class 2 events. And I mean, even with that, it attracts um, more international riders. They're also looking, okay, where's the races that we can score some points at? So it brings a higher level of competition to our local riders as well. So it's like a double exposure, if you can call it that. And then, yeah, just improving how our track is doing and getting those larger events. Even like we've we've been hosting national champs almost every year now, and then we can even maybe one day even host the continental champs. Like I've been at quite a few different venues at continental champs, and I can see Belleville Velodrome um, being able to adequately host the championships of that nature as well.
Yeah, I mean, Carl, you're hitting the nail on the head because for a South African rider to go overseas, if, I mean, it costs a lot of money, but to host the event here, like AFCON, actually brings a lot of riders down, or even a UCI Cat 2, um, which will then boost the level of our riders. Now, speaking of that, I mean, you've raced in many places. You've also competed in some AFCON championships. Looking back at your career so far, what are the highlights um, that you can share with us?
Yeah, so I mean, every time you get to represent your country, that's that's always an honor and a privilege to do. Like, and every time I do it, like I've done it quite a few times between road and track. I'm very, very privileged to be able to do that. And then winning the African Continental Champs scratch race in 2019, that was quite a big one as well. And then finally now winning um, national points race title earlier this year. That was also quite an emotional win as well.
And that points race, I mean, I watched that race. It was one of the best races of the competition because it was such a positive race. Um, for the first part of the race, you were in the main bunch, and I mean a lot of riders were scoring points. But then towards the latter half, you really picked things up. Can you take us through the fi- the final half of that race and then how it transpired in you winning that title?
Yeah, so like um for let's say like about the first half of the race I was scoring good points and I was getting that information from my manager Oscar and okay like we were 1 point down and that was quite good. But then like later into the second half or early into the second half rather, like I was starting to not being able to score points and I was almost losing control of the race for myself personally. And then about 30 laps to go, between 30 and 40 laps, like when one of the brakes came back, and I decided, okay, I need to do something now. So I attacked and not thinking, okay, I'm gonna lap the bunch or being my intention. It was just like, okay, I need to get away, score points, however it comes. And then from there, I was joined by Callan Guveris. It was nice seeing him back on the track from the previous year's essays. And I mean, once we connected and we kind of just knew, okay, we have to ride and lap the bunch now. And that's how the race was won essentially.
But then it was just like chaos because you two gained the 20 points and there was like 1 point between you. And yeah, it ended up on the last lap, neither scoring points. So you got it by a point. But I mean, it was such an emotional victory. I can remember you hugging your dad in the center of the track, and really all the Cape Town riders and supporters they were over the moon for you. But yeah, why was it such an emotional victory on the evening and an important victory?
Yeah, like I think that was the most important race for my championships because I knew, okay, if there's one race I can win it, definitely that one. So like even the previous night I was third in the elimination and that was like okay, like my form's good and like okay, that's good. We got a podium at least. So now we can focus on the points race. And I mean the planning from training to even like the communication in the race from my manager just to know okay, how much points am I ahead or behind and then lastly, just like the amount of times I've come close to like a podium where I just missed out by 1 or 2 points, or like where I missed the win because of one sprint, and then I was always on the wrong end of the yeah of the split, if you can say. So to win by 1 point, it was really emotional because of all the times that I was on the other end of it. So that's what
Yeah,
to finally get it done made it very emotional.
I I think you thoroughly deserved it because um, for our young riders, it's just like the never give up attitude because there's been provincial champs and national champs where Carl was on like really good form and things just didn't go his way, but he never looked back. He kept on going and he then got that points title, which really was an important victory and just showed showed that perseverance and hard work pays off. Um, Carl, what people also don't know about you is that Western Province track cycling has a strategy. Then also on that strategy, a few of the pages um, in terms of how we can attract youth riders and how we can get more riders. You also gave input for that, so we really appreciate you um, for being a really approachable athlete who shares his experience and and who helps us to build the sport. We are really looking forward to follow your journey to Commonwealth Games 2026. We wish you all the best, and we appreciate you making time for us on the show and sharing some of your experience with the young riders and with our audience. Thank you, Carl.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show, and hopefully I've showed the riders that there is a way to progress in the sport.
For sure. Thank you.